Just everything that Loyola has brought to my husband's life, it was a no-brainer when we had to choose, and especially for Lucas. Lucas walked to the front door, and when he saw the name Loyola, and he says, when I saw the red bricks, he says, I felt like I was home. So that was a big moment where like, this is it.
I think why somebody should send their son to Loyola is, yes, the academic side of it, but that community and the formation of the whole person, and the activities that sort of go along around it. It's not just a school, it's a family, it's a community, and one that, you know, you start off, but you're always a part of, and one that I feel as an alumni. So I think it's not about being part of a school, it's about being part of a community and something that's just bigger than you.
The school really does emphasize, live by the motto of a man for others. And so from the get-go, they're academically challenged, but also spiritually. They learn about community. The bonding too. I like the fact that it's all boys. I think it's important. I think it's great that it's all boys. There's a certain brotherhood that's formed. I can't tell you again. My son looks at his friends. He graduated in 2015. They're really his brothers. They're like he sees them as his brothers. And this is, I've heard from people who've graduated 25, 30 years ago. It really is a brotherhood. So I think they come in here. It's a warm, loving environment. They're always welcomed back. And on all fronts, they're just challenged. And I highly recommend it, highly.
There's unfortunately not many schools that are like Loyola, that sort of have the Catholic instruction, the religious foundation, the Jesuit aspect of it, which is really strong and powerful. You know, we see that in some high schools, universities in the States, in Canada, not so much, unfortunately. And I think that if somebody wants to be a part of, that global network that is about, being strong academically, but also being of service, being that sort of person for others, then definitely Loyola is the only place for you.
We were looking for a school that had the right combination of strong academic performance, rigueur in the academics, combined with sports and combined with arts. And also we were concerned about having that spiritual element as part of his education. It really did play into the equation as well.
I went to a Jesuit school in Ireland, and so I was very aware of the Jesuit education system, and that was something that we were eager for our sons to get the opportunity to experience, and we haven't been disappointed at all.
And for me, I had never been introduced to the Jesuit school before meeting Ken. And when we were preparing and looking for it at schools, we opened ourselves to everything, but it was a different feeling here. There was a different vibe, a different energy here. And without even saying very much, our kids felt it the same way, our oldest in particular. As soon as he walked in the school, he knew this is where he wanted to be, and this is actually the best place for him. This is certainly the best place for both our boys.
One of the things that came to mind about the school is that in a very positive way it challenges the kids. It challenges them academically, obviously, athletically, but then you look to things like spiritually and socially, right, whereby they're challenged to give of themselves, to give the best of themselves, to try and raise up their co-students in the school, to take that social responsibility for social justice. Very much tenets of the Jesuit education.
It has given him confidence, for sure, number one. It has instilled everyday virtues that I try to put into him, for his future, for him to go on as an adult, to make him more secure. Also, it has opened his eyes to a whole different world. Different people, different backgrounds, so it's been an experience.
Loyola really, I think, gave him the opportunity to kind of open up, to take opportunities in terms of both, let's say, in sports or even within class, to practice on leadership skills, practice on public speaking skills. I mean, beyond just the core academics, he's really developing a broad set, service to the community, I mean, he's really done a lot in 1 year. So you can imagine what they can do in the full 5.
And I think he's learning about himself through successes and failures. He's learning his strengths. He's learning areas maybe that he could work on. You know, it hasn't always been perfect. And I think that's important, right? You can't always be successful. But being able to work on your weaknesses as well as your strengths is important too. And I think he's learned about himself that way.
There's like this bond that they create. And I think that's a big part of like what has made him like, I guess, mature as a person. So all of those 4 years since he's been in the building, I feel like, you know, he's definitely becoming, you know, the person that I want him to be.
The experience he's had here over the last 4 years and going into his 5th has been excellent. And he always was a good person, but he is living up to the school mantra of men for others.
I've seen them evolve as young boys, and they're maturing into young men. And I see how quickly it's going, but I see how much growth has happened in a very short space of time. We're not done quite yet, but already I see the significant changes in them as people. And what Loyola does is very interesting. You're located in a place, in a central location, and you have kids coming from everywhere. And had it not been for Loyola, my kids would not have met the other students, the other boys that are now become their friends. I think if they stayed within their community, they would have just known their own community of friends. Here, it's opened it all up. And really, that's what the world is. It's about opening up the world to them. And just by its physical space here in N.D.G. and where we live, we don't live very close to the school. It's, as most boys don't live close to the school, it's given them that opportunity to meet other boys from everywhere. And I think that's a great gift for them.
The one thing that I have always appreciated about Loyola is that it's not just about the academics, it's not just about school, it's not just about sports. It's the real a real calling for the school to raise a total person, right? A total man, right? And that's more than just, you know, what you know in your head or what you can do with your hands and feet and running or sports or anything like that. It's also that teaching kids be empathetic, to be caring, to be that there's more to life than just doing well in school and doing well in sports. Which there's many schools out there that offer good academics, good sports programs, but it's that extra something that Loyola brings that I think is what makes Loyola a Loyola boy, right? Is that you're learning something more than just the theory of academics or sports. You're learning to be a man.
It's really made them, well, as the motto says, men for others. They've really grown because, again, going back to the well-rounded, I mean, they've been academically challenged, but they've also been challenged in other regards, spiritually through, what they do in the classrooms, and of course, culminating with Kairos in Secondary 5, which is a life-changing experience for most boys. So I think it's just given them the tools to move into society, grow, become real men.
What the school really brings to your son. I mean, they enter as little young people coming into the school, but then they leave in that transitional 5 years. They become young men ready for the world. They're ready to take on different challenges, and they're not afraid because they've been pushed here. They've been pushed, but in a very positive way. Pushed but supported along the way to show that, you know what, you can bring yourself to your fullest potential here, but we've just started it. It's now up to you now to go forth and then just to explore everything that we've built a great foundation for you. Now it's your turn to just fly. Yeah. And they all come back. Yeah. And they usually all come back.
I think that's testament to the alumni involvement, the past parents' involvement, the current parents' involvement, very much, is a testament to the fact that this is a very positive place, a place where the kids and the parents perceive that they get a lot from the school. So I would just encourage prospective parents, come down to the open house, check it out, come down to the Edmar tournament in the spring and see the spirit here. see it in action, see people volunteering and helping, to make this the school a better place and an inclusive place. I think just definitely check it out, and I couldn't recommend it more highly.
I would say Loyola's, aside from the academic side of it, which is important, obviously, as they move on through their academic career, it's also helped to form them in, as the entire person, the whole person. So not just, again, the academic side, but also being aware of their community, the world around them, their place in them, the instillment of the Jesuit values, and to be of service, right? Especially if we happen to be fortunate and having been given a lot, then it's our obligation to give back.
A Loyola boy is a kid or a young man who has a sense of responsibility. And I think that's instilled in the school. And that would be a sense of responsibility to friends, family, and the community in general. I
think what Loyola really ingrains in you in your 5 years here is that a strong balance between clearly strong academics, but really having a balanced life or a balanced approach to life, including a strong commitment to service for others.
Yeah, I think it's really developed Rocco's character. He's much more aware of the community and other people who may not have as much as he does, and how to serve them and how to kind of integrate into other communities within Montreal.
I think from an academic perspective, it's definitely going to be different for them because they're going to be going from a very, nurturing community environment to one where in a lot of ways they're going to be left to their own devices and have to sort of make their way on their own. That said, I think that Loyola's prepared them very, very well to be able to, face those challenges so that they know, coming out of Loyola, who they are. And, sure, there's going to be an adaptation like there always is, but I think they'll be very, very well prepared.
There is something, and I think it's ubiquitous to all Jesuit schools. We visited Georgetown. Our niece studied at Georgetown, and you get a feeling there that you don't necessarily get in other university campuses. I think their commitment to good education and the basically the treatment of a young man as a whole person. They're not focusing on one thing. They want to build intellectual competence and mental strength and a feeling of caring and social skills. Just add up to a really cool, wholesome experience.
When we went to visit CEGEPs, for example, for next year, they say, well, the Loyola boys are very polite, they're very nice. We love having them. Okay, and that's what we hear when we visit when we visit the CEGEPs. So that's not a coincidence. That's a function of the way they've been taught for 5 years. And so they're welcomed in all these other schools.
You should definitely consider Loyola. It's the whole package. When people are debating, families around us are debating the whole co-ed, all boys, all girls. Loyola's structured to understand boys, the teachers. Again, Lucas is in grade 7, but I can see that they're built to understand boys and how boys function and how they work and how they play sports and how they have their friendships. So yeah, if I would be speaking to a family, which a lot of people ask, we strongly suggest you consider Loyola because we're so fortunate to have Loyola in Montreal. And if you have the opportunity to send your son here, I think it's a great school.
He was happy with the way the teachers spoke with him here, the way they were interested in him doing good in his academics. So as a teenager, I think, or for me as a parent, that is the most important thing, is schoolwork. I think that will take him anywhere. I would recommend this school to anyone at any time. Not to mention, again, the virtues. That's their everyday virtues. This is the thing that you want to instill. You instill this in them as kids, and then for them to come in a school settings where these virtues are also instilled in them, right? I think it's a good pace to start their teenage years.
Loyola provides an environment where if you're an athlete, you've got a plethora of options. And if you're not an athlete, and you like to build a robot or play chess or do anything, art, music. There's always some avenue that they can follow where they can hone their skills and get some enjoyment out of their high school education. So I certainly would recommend it.
And I also mentioned, which another aspect of Loyola that's amazing is the religion, which is not basically nowhere else, no other high school close around to our community, that you can get such a good education and with a focus on religion, and you do have the religion classes, and so for me that's a big plus, and that's why I try to sell to people.
I feel that there is one benefit that maybe parents don't consider when they're looking at high schools for their sons, and it's the power of the network. Sam in his professional life is really accessing that network right now, and you don't consider it when you just sign up. And this is a professional network that lasts your lifetime. He's in the mid of his career, and he's still using Loyola to meet people, connect with others, working through the network to find professional opportunities. And I think that's pretty powerful.
For us, it was a no-brainer on many fronts. For one, education-wise, which is one of the main reasons you want to send your kids to a good school, is excellent. The education was excellent, it was advanced, and having been an alumni myself and having gone to CEGEP, and I was way ahead of most of the kids in the classes. We had done calculus and we had done those things in high school that everybody was learning for the first time in CEGEP. That's one. Second of all, they have an excellent sports program. They hockey, football, any sport that you want to play, the school has a very good program, very good coaching, and it creates a lot of camaraderie with the kids as they play. And the third reason, it's this unknown factor about Loyola. There's a sense of community, a sense of bonding. I can't put my finger on it now, but even today, my best friends are mostly guys I met in Loyola. I was best man at one of my friends' wedding. He's godfather to one of my kids. So we've always kept this camaraderie going over the years. And even when I meet people that went to Loyola and that I didn't know at the time, there's a certain bond that we have. Oh, you went to Loyola, and I can't explain that, but it's just there.
There's very few, English, all boys, Catholic schools left. I mean, there really is no other choice, and I think for parents who are considering trying to give their kids something more than just academics or a sports program, which was very important for us, there's really no other choice.
We are at our second generation at Loyola. We think it's a fantastic school. There's no doubt that the academics are very strong at Loyola, but at the same time, love the fact that it gives you a good, well-rounded experience. So whatever that well-rounded means for each person, there are a lot of options here. So we talk about arts, performance arts, sports. I mean, the list goes on and on. So it's a great way of giving someone a real, and the school pushes that, a real balanced approach to life.
Well, and also the camaraderie. Like, you develop really great friends, and they're boys like you, who maybe share your faith or share the same values from your household. And so I find that connection super strong, even in the first year that Rocco's been attending Loyola. And it's pretty cool.
When I speak to friends that are starting to choose which high school their son should attend, one of the things that I tell them is that, yes, there are a lot of other schools that might be a good fit, But I feel that at Loyola, there's something else that you don't get from the other schools. And really, it's a bond that the boys create while they're in this building for 5 years, and that it's more like they become a family. So to me, that's usually what I tell parents. So sometimes it's not about just the academics. I feel like the social aspect of what you get in the school for the past 5 years that you're in the building, I think, that's also an added value. And for myself, I think that it's important. So that is usually what I tell other parents, because there's so many schools in Montreal, and, there's a lot of choices. But it can't just be academics. It's also there also has to be something else, like seeing your son become a man.
This feeling of community, of family, of belonging, the camaraderie, the brotherhood that's formed. It's a really special place. I can't really put it into words. I can't explain it, but there's a magical feeling here. And this goes back even to the administration, the support staff. It feels like a Walt Disney it really does. People are so nice, and just the kids are welcomed. It's just a very warm environment. So yeah, it's very hard to put in words, but no, it's my boys are leaving here, but they're part of a family now. They're part of a big extended family.
The biggest surprise was all the support. It feels like he's the only kid in the school, just with the teachers and the staff and friends, and it just wasn't as big as how we felt when there's 125 students coming into a new school year, and where they feel lost, and would they feel like with friends, and so it's the way that the teachers and the school really put their arms around them, especially grade 7 coming in, just making them feel safe and making them feel that they belong.
I'm really happy because Rocco's happy, and he's really enjoying his experience. The academics are hard, but he's getting involved in the sports teams, sports that he hasn't played before, and he's building friendships, and that makes for a happy child. You have the academics, the sports, the friendships, and it's all good.
I would say the virtues that they instill in the kids. That's something that stays with them forever. Honesty, caring for each other, being patient, being understanding. I think those are like the roots. If you have that, it will take you anywhere.
It really is a community here at Loyola. It's wonderful because it's quite incredible, because you see so many parents that have come back to share, to participate in the school. For instance, I got involved in the Mothers Guild as well, coordinating the grad. And you want to do it here because it's a really, you get a sense that you're appreciated by the administration, by the support staff, and you make friends, you have a common bond. It's really a sense of family, a sense of community. It's very, very deep. And I can't tell you how many parents that have come back to share, and I don't know that I've heard that in any other school, that you have so many parents dating kids who've graduated 20 years behind that come back here and still want to contribute to the school to make it better. And I find that quite special, quite magical.
There's a certain level of pride, I think, that is associated to this school and their 5 years here. So I think outside it still means something to them. And I think that's what's so interesting, is that the alumni is so strong. I've never seen that before in any school whatsoever. Coming from the public system myself, I've never seen that intense connection to their high school before. And I think that's what Loyola gives these boys. It gives them not only a sense of community, but beyond that. It's a social network. It boggles my mind how many people still come to the school so many years later, but there's such an affection and affinity for the school, and I think that's really rare.
And I've seen also that it's very important to them day to day, the ambassadorship that they provide for, not that they themselves just provide, but how to encourage others to be good ambassadors for the school. Behavior on the train, in public places, on trips, school trips. It's important to them that the reputation of the school is protected. The
best kept secret is their continuity. They have a I think they have a formula that maybe nobody else has figured out. And what I've noticed is a lot of the teachers and maybe even administrative staff are former Loyola students or relatives of former Loyola students. And I know that our son's favorite teachers so far are all Loyola grads. And I don't think that that's, I mean, it may not be a big sample size, but I don't think that that's a coincidence. I think that if you studied here and you're coming back to teach here, you're doing it for a reason. It's because you believed in the institution, and there's no training required. There's no, you don't need to explain to these people what your policies are, what your goals are. They just know what it's like to be a Loyola student, and they know what their job is. And I don't know if other schools have that much a return on investment. And I think that is absolutely what makes this place special.
What they instill to the boys while they're here in the building, starting from secondary 1, and the relationships that they build with the teachers, whether it's in a classroom or in sports, I think that is the secret. That bond that they create outside of the classroom, and just witnessing like the staff that attends all of the events in the school, whether it's the dance or whether it's the wine and cheese event that we raise funds for the bursary. The staff, they always come and they're always supportive. So for me, that speaks volume. It's not just, being a teacher working in a class. It's all about all the other things that they give to the boys.
Loyola has stayed true to its mission, its values, and I think that speaks volumes in terms of what kind of strength of character there is in the school and mission the school has, and the people that are running the school and setting the direction for the school, right?
One of the things that I think is very particular to Loyola is that the boys that come to this school have long-lasting friendships, relationships, connections, caring about each other, staying in touch. I find that very impressive because there's not that many high schools. You finish high school, you move on to other things, other schools, other cities, other work, but I find that there's a very strong network here of alumni, students who basically stay in touch and actually help each other out, which I find very impressive. And I know that the friendships that Gabriel has made at Loyola are going to last him a lifetime.
I think the level of the bursary program here was a surprise to me. I didn't realize that there was quite that many bursaries or partial bursaries awarded, and I think that's a fantastic testament to the students because they're involved in the fundraising, to the parents and alumni and other contributors, often from generations ago almost. People who've alumnus of 50 years is still involved in fundraising or contributing in some way to the opportunities to throw the doors wide open.
But you're going to get something here for your son that you will not necessarily get in other schools, which is that focus on raising a man for the world, a man for society, a leader in your community. Those are the things that the school espouses to instill in our sons.